Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching me today. My name is Peter. Welcome back to Invest with Peter. So today on Monday Market Review, I'm going to be talking about some issues that we had last week, and market rallied because of some issues that happened, and also what is really happening around the world and the rumors going about in the market and all that stuff, and about the oil and gas, petrodollar stuff. So I'm going to be talking about that, and I'll be, trying to explain some issue today concerning like 5 things we need to understand and how we can protect ourselves. If you can see it on my thumbnail, that some alliances are coming together against US dollar. So as an investor, we need to be looking at some issues and some things to protect ourselves. But because if not, we're just going to be left hanging when all these big billionaires and millionaires move their money about. We're going to be left hanging, holding the bag. And I believe you don't want that, right? So there's some things I'm going to be telling you today. If you can stay till the end, I'm going to be sharing some ways to protect yourself, if this actually happened, right? So friends, and if you have not subscribed, please kindly do subscribe, like, and share this video, and put the notification bell on just in case, I can come during the week. But every Monday, I always, drop my market review. But anytime I come on, you're going to be notified if you put your notification bell on and all that stuff. So thank you for doing that. And I'll be telling you today the issues that we need to look at vividly. We're not politicians, we're not into politics, we're investors. But there's no way, a friend of mine told me, you can't be an investor and say you don't want to get involved in politics. Both of them, come hand in hand, because if you don't understand what goes on around you, tell me how you want to invest. If you invest without understanding what goes around you, that means you are investing blindly, and that's going to cost you a lot. So you want to invest based on what is happening around you, around the world, and how the market actually reflect or digest this issue that goes around and all that stuff. So even market always look at geopolitical issues, and economy of a country, financial system, and they go hand in hand like that. So market is not just like, okay, I want to go up, I want to go down. Market actually reacts to what happened around the world. So as an investor, we need to understand politics. You may not be a politician, you may not be interested in politics, but you need to understand politics and sectors and also some policies that might actually affect you today or probably tomorrow. Right. So last week, the Fed at their meeting, Q&A, and Jerome Powell came out and said, well, it's 25 base points, which the market has already predicted. And we're all like, okay, that's good. We've all digested that already. So 25 base points. And he actually gave us a hint that they're going to be 7 times, they're going to be raising rates 7 times this year. And, all right, market actually priced that in as well. And because of that, there's a bit of stability. Market actually went up. And everybody was just, my portfolio actually went up 11% in a week. So I was happy, and I was like, well, I hope this continues as well. So, because I'm enjoying the rally and everybody is enjoying the rally. That is, if you're not shorting the market. If you're shorting the market, well, good luck with that. You're trying to bet against the United States economy. Well, I'm not a short guy. I don't short, I buy, I don't sell. So as a result of that, people were happy, okay, hopefully this go on and all that stuff. So markets rally because of there's a bit of stability concerning the Fed raising the rate and all that stuff. Though the inflation is here and nobody knows how the inflation is going to react to this. Next CPI is coming out again, a couple of weeks time, and we're going to see what happened there. Maybe that's going to make, FOMC think again and say, okay, our next time we're going to be raising rates, maybe 50 base points. Or something like that. But I believe very soon, maybe it might not be the next one, probably the one in May, they might probably raise it by 50 basis points. So we're going to see at some point. So now let's start talking about what's going to happen, or what, the market is really digesting what's been going on in the market, right? So the first one is Biden and Xi Jinping actually had a meeting last week, and they were discussing about the issue of Russia and Ukraine, right? So Biden was like, if you openly support Russia, there's going to be a big consequence, which I believe you understand. And you better stay away, stay off Russia for now. You can't get involved in what is going on. It's either you mediate or just fold your hand and see what goes on. We want the sanctions to actually affect Russia's economy and let them understand what they're doing is wrong. But, well, Xi Jinping actually responded and said, well, we know, we understand what's going on, but, the only thing that can happen now is to find a diplomatic way to solve the issue between Russia and Ukraine. So Biden was emphasizing that if we actually see you trying to, there's going to be a big consequence, and most of what's the consequence? The consequence is going to be sanctioned. But can US actually sanction China? Because most of the stuff we use on daily basis, actually coming from China. The clothes you wear, the wristwatch, the phone, the mobile phone we use, Apple, it's been assembled in China, understand? So most of the stuff we buy actually comes from China. So can the world actually afford to sanction China? So think about that and understand. So that's not where we're going to. I'm just building the base to what I'm going to be talking about today. And if you can wait till the end, I'm going to be telling you how to protect yourself with what is probably coming. Okay, so they were actually discussing these, and Biden was still emphasizing that leave Russia alone. Let Russia feel the pinch. Let them feel the pain and the consequence of what they're doing. But we can't overlook that, because we all know before the invasion, Russia President Vladimir Putin went to China just for the Olympic ceremony. On that day, he was there with Xi Jinping, and they were shaking hand. They had a closed door meeting. We don't know what happened or what transpired. Nothing of that was released to anyone. But we know that Xi Jinping must have known. He must have heard from Putin that he's going to actually invade. But that's just so the relationship of Russia and China is going to be like, it cannot be overemphasized. They actually know, the world know that these two guys are actually building their relationship just before the invasion, and US is aware of that. The whole West is aware of that, right? So now there's this alliance going about. Like, okay, who is condemning Russia? Who is not condemning? There's some countries that are not condemning Russia, right? They're like, some of them are even saying diplomacy is the best answer to what's happening, and some countries are not actually sanctioning, or probably accepting, or probably trying to enforce the sanction on China, on Russia rather. So the countries are, Russia itself, they are frowning against this sanction, that the sanction is too big for them. It is not. What they're doing is what they've been talking about, that we don't want, NATO around our area, around Eastern Europe, and NATO has been gradually building momentum around Eastern Europe and all that stuff. So Russia with, China, you can say they're the best ally of them, China. Saudi Arabia, guess what? 2 or 3 weeks ago, the prince, Saudi prince actually was like, Biden actually called Saudi prince, and, Saudi prince ignored his phone. He was like, nah, I'm not interested. Well, what really happened is there has been an alliance in the Middle East with Russia, because it's OPEC plus that's happening, countries that produces oil and gas and all that stuff. So they actually are not interested in what the West is doing towards Russia. So as a result of this, Saudi Arabia is not interested in what's happening in Ukraine. They're still ally. They're still an ally to Putin. So these countries, Iran, Syria president actually went to UAE just a couple of days ago, which has never happened since 2016 or 20, since the beginning of the war in Syria. This guy has never left his country. He actually went to UAE to make an alliance with UAE again. So you can see there's a bit of alliance going on with the Middle East and Russia and all that stuff. So all these oil producing company, they're not leaving Russia, hanging. They're still telling the world that, well, this is Harley, we can't just leave them and all that stuff. So the crude oil crisis is not going to go away, very soon. So that's going to be under big problems. So expect the price probably to go up again or something like that. So this country are actually supporting Russia. They're not saying it openly, but with their reaction, they say action speaks louder than voice, isn't it? So these countries are actually building momentum against Russia, and this sanction might not actually work in a long time. Maybe it's probably not going to work against Russia at some point, because this country are still ready to do business with Russia. So as a result of that, India of recent actually ordered 3 million barrels of crude oil for a cheaper price, from Russia. And the world was like, we are sanctioning this country, and you are buying, the Indian president, he was like, Modi is like, well, you can't politicize natural resources. We need these things. And because of what's going on in Ukraine, wouldn't stop us from buying crude oil from Russia. So India is still doing business with Russia. Do you see that? All right. So, and now things are going, sideways. The sanction is not really that, it's more or less like a slap in the hand of Russia at the moment, because some countries are still buying oil from them. They're still buying their crude oil. So how is this going to pinch? How is this going to affect Russia in this case? Well, no one knows, but India is still emphasizing that diplomacy is the answer to this thing. They should come to the round table, and that issue going on in Ukraine and between Russia and Ukraine, it's not going to affect them doing business with them. All right. So that is that about that. So, but the West and Biden are not looking at this thing, that there's an alliance coming and they are building up momentum against United States dollars. So now look at this. Of recent, China and Saudi Arabia actually decided that, well, as from this time, I think we're probably going to be dealing in Chinese yuan to buy oil instead of petrodollar. So we're not going to be using dollar. In short, they said we're not going to be using dollar to transact oil business anymore. So Saudi will be selling oil to China, in exchange for Chinese yuan. So that struck the world. And people like, are you guys crazy? What's going on there? Because the world has always buy petrol, a barrel of oil, with dollars. So dollars has been the world reserve currency, right? But these people are gradually forming an alliance, ignoring and neglecting United States dollars. So they want to do business with Chinese currency now. And why is this? Because Saudi Arabia has not been getting support from the United States the way, when the Republican president was there, because Biden's government frowned against Saudi Arabia, bombarding Yemenis rebels, the Houthis, all that stuff. So US has stopped doing business, selling weapons to Saudi Arabia. This is the beginning of the problem. So US stopped selling, weapon system and all this stuff to Saudi Arabia, because US believe Saudi is using it against, civilians and unarmed people and all that stuff. So they stopped the contract. And Saudi were like, well, if you don't want to do business with us, please don't expect us to do business with you. So when Biden was telling Saudi Arabia that, please, can you double up on the oil production, because we've actually stopped, buying oil and crude oil from Russia. So can you double up? The Saudi prince said, no, we're not doubling anything. We are going to be producing the amount we were producing before the crisis. So you can't tell us now to start doubling up just to fill in the gaps of what Russia has left behind. That's not happening. So there's been a crisis going on between the United States and the West. So the United States and the Middle East and the UAE with China. And guess what? China actually owns Africa at the moment. Because go to Africa now, there's most African country has Chinese influence. Chinese, they've built school in Africa. They built facility, resources, and everything like that. They have their workers and everybody. They have their community there. So China's been looking at overtaking United States as a world power. So this probably a gimmicks they're using now to form momentum against United States, against United States dollars. So at this point now, as an investor, how are we going to protect ourselves, right? If this actually happened, because the very first time this happened when the world started buying, stuff in Chinese currency, guess what? United States, the value of United States dollar is going to go down. And if you have money in the bank, well, good luck with that. So how do you protect yourself? That's where cryptocurrency come in. There's no way of recent, the congressmen actually realized that there's no point in banning this thing. Cryptocurrency is too big to be banned at this point. The only thing they can do is to regulate this, and they're trying to do it, right? So if you're still ignoring cryptocurrency, well, you have yourself to blame when this thing actually goes up and all that stuff. Protect yourself, protect your resources by buying cryptocurrency. See, this one that came out recent, HAPE and all that stuff. All these are hyped crypto currencies and all that stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the big ones: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, and all these stuffs. XRP with some other ones, Polkadot and all that. So get yourself on board as soon as possible. Don't leave your dollars lying in the bank, because dollar is about to lose its value if it actually goes ahead. And like I said earlier on, China has been building momentum in Africa. So a continent of 1.7 billion people, and China has probably maybe 1.1 billion people. India is also going the way, against the West now, because India still do business with Putin. So if this alliance come together against the West, against the United States, then, Chinese yuan will probably be the currency they will be trading. So we need to be looking at that. And also another thing is, because this crisis, we don't know how it's going to end and when it's going to end. If you're too, you might say, well, this is not for me, but I'll just say this anyway. You better start looking at buying gold coins. I've never mentioned this in my video, but you better start protecting your resources, start protecting your money by buying gold coins. You don't know what's going to happen. If anything goes down, the value of your dollar goes down, and you probably regret not investing in proper things that you want to. If you want to invest in property, well, hopefully we don't have housing market crash. If we do, then very good time to buy into housing market. So I will be protecting myself. I'm just saying these are the ways you can protect your hard-earned money, like investing in crypto, buying gold coins, start accumulating your gold coins at this point, and also invest in the stock market. Don't fold your hand and sit back and say, well, market is still going to go down. I want to catch it when it's low. Well, no one knows. You can't time the market. You got me? Timing the market. Time in the market is better than timing the market. So start investing in big companies that has pricing power, not random companies. Go into companies that has pricing power, that can actually do well in terms of inflation, that can change the price of their product. Who actually, companies that produce things that we use on daily basis are the companies you want to start investing in the stock market. Don't leave your money in the bank. Guys, I don't want to waste your time. This is all for today, and I will be coming again next week, Monday. But this is the way I see what's going on. But I believe hopefully things turn around, and everything, the issue about on Russia, Ukraine gets settled, diplomacy and common sense come into play, and the stop of the killing of innocent people that are dying in Ukraine. Friends, my name is Peter Haz. Welcome back. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.